Welcome to Sunflower Movement. I'm your host, Ashley Buckner. Quick disclaimer before we get started. This podcast is for education and entertainment purposes only. This platform is not a form of psychotherapy, counseling, or healthcare of any kind. Sunflowers bloom in the most unexpected places, always adjusting to stay connected to the sun. I see these sunflower movements as the moments, people, and places where we feel seen, heard, and believed, where healing takes root and transformation begins. If you're seeking that kind of space, you're in the right place. Before we dive into today's episode, you may have noticed a slight change in my introduction. I want to share an update on the direction of Sunflower Movement. My intention is to make this podcast healing-centered, aligning with my original vision, to explore what's possible beyond the frameworks we were given. I'll be sharing more personal insights on healing, nervous system regulation, brain spotting experiences, and connection. While I'll continue raising awareness about Mormon religious trauma, the heart of this podcast will be about what reclaiming our lives can truly look like as we heal. Thank you for your ongoing support and love on this journey. Today's episode feels like the perfect transition into this next phase. I'm sharing my recent boudoir photo shoot with Kacee Payne, owner of Kacee Boudoir in St. George, Utah. This experience was so much more than a Valentine's Day gift for my husband. It was a reclaiming of my body in a way I had never witnessed before. More than just photos, it was an opportunity to see myself with love, power, and softness all at once. I can't wait to share it with you. Thank you for tuning in. I'm all about being low maintenance to be a high maintenance girly, and my heatless curler from Cozy Confidence makes it so easy. I've tried satin curlers before, but they always made my curls too tight. I love the texture of this one. It gives my hair extra body without feeling overdone. I just sleep in it overnight, brush it out in the morning, add some dry shampoo at the roots if needed, and a little oil on the ends for shine. It makes my morning routine so much easier. If you want to simplify your getting ready routine, Cozy Confidence has you covered. Use my code AshleyB at CozyConfidence.com for 10% off anytime. Your hair will thank you. If you've ever dealt with sore muscles, tension, or just need a moment to reset, you need to try Pronomat. I won't lie, it's a little spendy, but I use mine every single day and it's 100% worth it. Whether I'm winding down, releasing tension, or even working on muscle tone, it makes a huge difference. I lay on it in so many different positions and every time I feel the impact. If you've been thinking about it, now's the time to try it. Use my code AshleyB for 10% off at Pronomat.com. Your body will thank you. I've been using this supplement for the past year and I'm not stopping anytime soon. Let's talk about Armra Colostrum. I love it for the immune boosting benefits, workout recovery, and even the strength it's given to my hair. It's become a staple in my routine and I can genuinely feel the difference. If you're looking for an easy way to support your body from the inside out, this is it. Head to tryarmra.com/AshleyBuckner and use code AshleyBuckner for 15% off. Give it a try. You'll see why I'm hooked. Okay, everyone, welcome back. I am very excited for today's episode. I'm here with Kacee Payne. I call her Queen Kacee, and I will get into that. That's my new nickname for you.
Love it.
She is the owner of Kacee Boudoir, and I actually did a boudoir photo shoot with her 4 days ago.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to chat about. She's located in St. George, Utah. And yeah, welcome, Kacee.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm so happy you're here. So just so listeners know, Kacee and I connected on a very intimate level on Tuesday earlier this week, doing a photo shoot. And I'm so excited to kind of like dive in and share my experience because it was unlike anything I have ever done, which I'm sure you have seen. But I thought like we could just start with maybe you introducing yourself. Like, how did you get into boudoir? Just like your little journey.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I started photography. 17 years ago.
Oh, wow.
So I started doing weddings, families, all that stuff. And I did boudoir for like close family and close friends. I did a few throughout my years of doing photography. And like it was just another session to me back then. And in 2018, this old guy, RIP, he died during COVID, but he hired me to do a boudoir calendar. He wanted to sell a calendar of local women and like just sell it around town.
All right.
So I was like, all right, let's do it. I'm game. And so I think I shot about 14 women in 2 days, and it changed my life forever. I'll always give credit to Roy, R.I.P.
Rest in peace,
yes,
Roy.
Rest in peace, Roy. He just this awesome old little dude that was a little bit of a perv. It's okay. We love him for that. But when I was editing the pictures, I just loved that I was in a studio. I didn't have to worry about weather outside. And then just meeting all these women. It wasn't models. I think there were only 2 experienced models in this group. It was just women, moms, single women, women who had this weight loss transformation, just everyday women. And they all received their images. So I sent them all their albums. And the response I got from these women was more rewarding than anything I had ever done in the past, however many years at that point. And I was laying on my bed on my computer, and I looked over at my husband, and I said to him, this is what I need to be doing. Because these women were saying things to me like, you have no idea how much I needed this. I had such poor body image. I saw myself so differently. You changed the way I see myself. And so I just kind of jumped in. And it's funny because I was actually on the verge of quitting photography altogether. I was so burnt out. I hated weddings. They gave me crippling anxiety.
Interesting.
And then Boudoir just fell into my lap, and I haven't looked back. I was nervous at first, obviously, because St. George, Utah is very conservative. Utah in general, but I've only gotten a little backlash, and
yeah,
I love what I do.
I like can feel it. I actually kind of got chills when you were talking. I mean, multiple times talking about the response from the women, but also too when you were talking about how you felt burnt out and you were going to be done, and then this kind of happened. And it's so funny because I have the exact same experience, not with photography, but I was really burnt out in therapy, and then I found brain spotting, and then it like reignited a fire. And I think it's what's coming up for me is it's just an example that things pivot and things change, and it's our openness to that change that kind of, I think, helps us find our passion.
Yeah.
And like you almost have to let yourself get to a point where you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna probably quit this.
Yep.
To then have things come into your field. So I love that like story.
Yeah, it's crazy because I was done. I was just so over it, and then like my passion just got reignited, and like to me this isn't a job anymore. I don't dread it. I don't have anxiety. I love what I do so much. I wake up and I'm just like, oh yes, I get to do this again today.
I love
and
that.
And everybody's so different. It's not the same,
And so you've been doing it exclusively since 2018.
Yep.
And tell us a little bit about that. Like how have you grown? How has it shifted? Just like kind of explain.
It's changed so much since I first started. When you first start, you are learning. I was new to it. I had done it a little bit before, but it really is just trial and error, which really sucks because these women are entrusting you to do this, and you're learning on that. They're like your guinea pigs, and so there probably were some bad experiences for some of these girls because I was learning all of it. You have to learn lighting. Lighting's different because you're just in a studio. I just use natural light in a studio. So I had a set studio. It was different than the one you came to, but you have to learn the lighting, and you have to learn posing on all these different women, different body types, different everything. And at that time they were bringing their own outfits. So they would just bring their own things, and learning to pay attention to details too. When I look back at pictures, I just kind of cringe because I'm like, your straps are crooked. Your straps are twisted. Why didn't I pay attention to that?
Sure.
But you learn, you know, it's an evolution. And so I started really cheap, if you will, inexpensive. I was very inexpensive because I was just trying to.
Yeah, you're building your clientele, learning.
And you get all walks of life. Unfortunately, people expect the world from you when you are inexpensive. And so you just learn boundaries too. Yeah. That's the biggest thing. I learned my boundaries early on and learned to not let people take advantage of me and my time, because people would do that. But I started out just simple. Clients would bring their own outfits. I didn't provide hair and makeup for anyone. They would just show up and we'd have their session and they would get their digital images. And it was just da-da-da. And then it would take a couple weeks for them to get their pictures because I would take my time editing. That's another thing, is editing is different because you're half naked, if not fully naked. And so I'm editing your whole body versus family pictures is different, you know?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, actually.
So learning my editing style was new too, because there's so many different styles in boudoir, and paying attention to editing the little things. So early on, I'd get clients wanting stretch marks removed, all these things. And that's one of the boundaries I had to set. I wanted to do this to teach women how to love themselves, how they were. It was all about self-love to me and empowering these women. And so early on, I said, I'm not editing out stretch marks. Stretch marks are a part of you. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I always say there's so many women, because stretch marks come from everything. Stretch marks, most people think they come from pregnancy, but they come from weight gain. They come from muscle gain. They come from everything. But especially the women who have had babies who get stretch marks, there are so many women that would give anything to have stretch marks from having a baby, but they can't.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to take that away.
Yeah.
That's my biggest thing. So I don't manipulate your body in any way. I don't make you look smaller. I don't make your boobs look bigger. I don't make your butt look bigger, except when it comes to posing. You know, I learned that the posing is what
enhances your body. Yeah. Which I can attest to, which we'll get into.
Yeah. So early on, I learned that and kind of got my editing style and got things down. And then I took a deep dive. I became friends with lots of different photographers around the world, boudoir photographers. And I found one that does lots of educating on your business, becoming a business owner, like taking it seriously. And so I invested a lot of money into her guides and changed my life. Like, I learned so much and it's brought me to where I am today. So in 2021 is where I shifted my business and kind of made it a big experience. I started providing outfits. I purchased, I think it was 2023 actually, when I actually bought outfits, but I started providing hair and makeup. It's just what you experienced, you know, it's a boudoir experience. It's a whole day.
Yeah, and it's an entire experience. And I think that is what drew me, like brought me the most in. And I didn't even know it was an experience prior to you like sending me this stuff.
Yeah.
Right. But I think that that just enhances the whole thing. And it really does make it a celebration of your body.
Yeah.
Versus like just going and bringing your own lingerie and taking a photo shoot, which I know you're not opposed to people bringing their own lingerie or anything, but it just is like, it makes it easy.
Yep.
Like, and effortless.
Yeah.
So you don't have to try hard to feel beautiful and empowered.
You just show up.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
kind of how I've made it.
I think this might be a good segue to talking about my experience personally with you. And then I want to talk more about like just what you've seen in general working with so many women in this space. And I know you have men come in too, but so backstory to everyone listening. This is what's so funny about this connection between Kacee and I. I started following Kacee on my personal Instagram, like I would say pretty early on to moving to Utah, back to Utah. So I moved back to Utah in 2018. You photographed one of my friends and she had told me about it. And I was like, okay, like this is so cool. So I started following you. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna one day do this for my husband. But it's like that same song and dance, right? Like, oh, my body doesn't look good enough. Like I'm not, like just all of these things. And so I was never ready. I never was ready. I was never like, nope, not gonna do it. And then I had like my second baby and I was like, okay, now I gotta wait for my body to get back after my second baby. It was just the same song and dance. And then I think it's the timing of us actually connecting is pretty divine, because I started doing a lot of my own inner work, more so than I had prior, before brain spotting in 2021. And that 2022, that like shifted a lot for me in terms of how I felt about my body. And I kind of forgot about Boudoir. Like I knew I was going to eventually do it, but whatever, just went about my life. And then things went crazy on my work Instagram. And Kacee and I connected. You like started connecting with my content.
Yeah, I started following you.
Yeah, you started following me. You started connecting with my content. And I remember you reached out. It was something about like purity culture or body image. And you DM'd me and I was like, this is so crazy. I've been like fangirling her for forever. And so Kacee and I connected that way. And you were like, oh. And I was like, oh, I want to come do a shoot with you. And then I was like, you should come on my podcast. Anyways, long story short, I was like, okay, actually, Kacee, before you come on my podcast, I need to go do a shoot with you so we can talk about it. Yeah. And it was like kind of cool because I don't know if I would have actually like just done it without that push. And so you sent me your Black Friday deal in November. So I bought this, I've had this plan for months, guys. Bought this in November. My husband had no idea. And when she sent me the package and I started reading, it was like, okay, you're going to get your hair and make. It was a whole experience. And then once I purchased the package, this was another really cool part that I'm just like going to really promote for Kacee. She did a consult call with me. And then we went over everything. So I think for women listening, because it is really vulnerable to go and like basically get almost practically naked and let someone take a picture of you. But you make it so seamless and safe. And I just remember we talked for probably like 40 minutes on the phone. And it was just like casual and comfortable. And I felt very seen and like, oh yeah, I can totally do this and safe. And then like we scheduled and we knew we were going we knew that we were going to take photos in February, which is apparently the best lighting, guys.
Yes.
And then record for this to drop on Valentine's Day. So happy Valentine's Day, everyone.
Yes, happy Love Day.
Happy Love Day. So that was like kind of the backstory to leading up to us connecting. I haven't actually shared this with anyone on my podcast or on my Instagram. I also had a breast augmentation done in September. And that was a really big journey for me. I went back and forth for a very long time on whether I would do it. I had a lot of asymmetry when I prior to having kids, and then prior to having an augmentation, and then after babies, my boobs just like deflated. So anyways, after like a couple consults, finding the right doctor, I did it. And the really cool part about this like breast augmentation and the timing before the shoot was I did it for me. Like for my body, and not because I needed to enhance it, but because I was like, I wanted that. Yeah. I like wanted that feminine thing. And so I will just tell you, and I'll probably need to do a whole episode where we talk about boob jobs, but I'm not going to today. It honestly changed my life in the way I saw my sexuality. Yeah. And so then 4 months later to schedule to do a shoot with you, it was like pretty empowering and very incredible.
Yeah. It's life-changing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've ever really embraced my body in the way that I did on Tuesday with you.
And it's so different to see your body. I just say this all the time. People probably get so sick of me saying it, but you're seeing your body through my eyes.
Oh, yeah. Which that's an experience.
It is. Because when you look in the mirror, you see your body opposite. It's opposite as what everybody else sees. So when I'm taking your pictures, you get to see yourself how I see you and how others see you. And for whatever reason, it just changes something.
It truly does. Like I'm really sitting with it. So I went and got my hair and makeup done, which that was like an experience in and of itself. Kacee has a great stylist.
They are amazing.
They are amazing. And then I went to her house and walked in, and she had all my like little lingerie pieces. So that was like the other piece she talked about. She has a lingerie closet, and you could like get to select your lingerie pieces that you would like.
Yes.
And so she had those all pulled out, and we just jumped in.
We just jumped
right in, put on a piece, and I will say, because she talked about the posing and how important the posing is. So she would get me in these poses, you guys, and she'd like stick your boobs out, like arch, like poke your, whatever it was, and then she'd be like, ooh, ah. And I don't know what she's looking at, right? And she's taking pictures, and I like remember thinking like, what the fuck are these gonna look like? So I'm curious, like, what are you seeing in that moment? Like, what's making you go like, ooh, yes, girl, like all those things
everything.
That you say.
Oh my gosh, just the beauty in every individual body, because everybody's so different. And it's the angles. So when I'm taking pictures, I kind of take a full body close up of each. I take lots of different angles in the same pose, right? And because I was, okay, keep holding it, hold it, you know?
Yeah, it's a workout, by the way. Yes, it's a workout.
Yes, you will be sore. And I'm just seeing the beauty. Like, I am seeing your body in its glory and its beauty, you know? I see the curves that these women have, and I'm just blown away and stunned, and I just make all these noises. Ooh, oh my gosh, yes. And a lot of it is just how the light hits you just perfectly, like how your boobs look, how your eyes look, just how so many things. I don't know. It's so hard to explain how my brain works seeing it, because I'm just holding my camera and I'm just processing the beauty, and I'm just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. It is so felt. And I think that's what makes it feel so safe, like, because you are just so connected in the moment and you're not anxious at all. Like, you're just calm, cool, collected. Like, even just like when you're, it's so funny. She's like, get on your knees. And my immature ass is like giggling. And it's just, but it's just like this is what you do every day. Yeah. And it's normal and it's safe. And I think that normalization of it, and you're not awkward at all. So it just kind of allows you to like do it and get in it. So anyways, we do the whole shoot. I think I did 4 outfits. I don't. So, yeah, we did 4 outfits.
It's usually 4 to 5 outfits.
Yeah. All different types of poses. I mean, I was contorting my body in ways I didn't know it could go.
Ways that weren't flattering, and I told you they weren't.
So for anyone that's listening who doesn't know, I'm 6'1", so I am a very long-limbed lady. And at one point, she's like, bend your arms like you're making T-Rex arms. And I'm like holding the straps, and I'm like, doesn't this look awkward? And then she's like, yes, that looks awkward.
It does. Most women say, doesn't this look awkward? And it doesn't. And the thing I say is, the more awkward you feel, the better it looks. But in your case, no. And I will be honest, and I tell everyone, I'm going to tell you if it looks bad. I'm not going to put you in positions that are going to make you look bad.
Yeah. So
we're going to adjust.
It was a really fun experience. And I'm not kidding. I was like sore. I was like, because you're kind of like, you hold your breath. You want it. I mean, you're like posing essentially. And then we finished up. And this is, I think, one of the really cool parts about what you do, because a lot of times when you get pictures taken, you have to wait weeks.
Yep.
Sometimes months. Like, I mean, sometimes it takes a long time to get photographs back. But Kacee's process is, and if I don't say this right, you can correct me, but she then has you leave. and come back in about 2.5 hours. So you edit directly after taking the photos. And I'm curious, what made you start doing that?
I started doing it, the education I bought. That was kind of one of the things that they wanted you to do. It's kind of like a same day thing. But I felt that it was more beneficial for my clients because you're already feeling amazing by the time you leave. You are all glammed up. You just feel good.
Yeah.
And why not see your pictures the same day when you're feeling amazing instead of waiting till weeks later? And I've just noticed that the women, they just process it better, I guess. And I started doing that. It was hard when I first started doing it because my internet really sucked at the time. And it would take a lot longer. It'd take like 4 or 5 hours. But I was able to kind of narrow it down. And a lot of it had to do with myself too, not overshooting. Yes. Not taking too many pictures. Yeah. That's my downfall. I just snap away. I can overshoot for sure. And so it was making myself not overshoot and just really tweaking the things that I wanted. I kind of just created presets.
Yeah.
And because I edit in Lightroom and Photoshop, but I created my own presets, which makes it kind of go faster. And a lot of it is just smoothing skin, removing blemishes, bruises. That's kind of what takes the most time.
Yeah.
Because I just kind of put a preset on all the pictures and it works for everyone. And just adjusting things. And it's better for me too. I have ADHD. So it's better for me to sit down right after and edit and I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done for the day.
I really want to speak to this because I think it was incredibly powerful for me because I was like, I loved the shoot, but you still are nervous. Like you're still like, what are these gonna look like? Mm-hmm. I mean, because I had that thought leaving your house. I was like, oh, what are these gonna look like? Like, I hope they're okay. I was like, moving my body. And so it was like a little nerve wracking, obviously. Loved the shoot. No complaints about the shoot. But again, I mean, like you're basically essentially like have these little pieces of clothing covering you, taking pictures. It's vulnerable.
It is.
And so I left the house and I went and like did a thing, my own thing for a few hours. And then I went back and it's good. I think this might make me emotional. So, whew. So come back to Kacee's house, like in her office, and she like pulls it up and she's like, okay. She puts music on.
Yep.
Like some sexy music.
Yep.
And she's like, okay, I'm going to play you a slideshow. And, didn't know this was going to make me emotional. She starts playing this slideshow of me in these lingerie pieces. And it's like unlike any way I've ever really looked at my body. And it's beautiful. Mm-hmm. And curves and all, right? Like our imperfections. It was so evident that you didn't edit my body aside from like the lighting or like the coloring, like it was just like fully my body. And there were, and it's so funny because I go back and I've looked at these pictures so many times since Tuesday, by the way. I looked at them so many times and I'm like softer each time. So like the pictures that I looked at that I was like, I don't know. I'm softer each time.
Yep.
Like I am just like, oh my gosh, Ashley, you're beautiful. Look at your body. And I think, and I didn't know this piece, but when you were talking earlier about how like we don't see ourselves like that as women, we see ourselves in the mirror.
Yep. But
then it like, even in that moment when you were talking, it made me think about my husband and how he sees me, but how I don't see me.
Yep.
Like, I think that's what's so powerful about this is it's like your opportunity to genuinely see you. Mm-hmm. And in a way where you're like, your body is out.
Oh yeah.
Like this isn't even, I know it's like sexual and sexy, but that's not even the empowerment piece for me.
No.
It's just like seeing my femininity and my body and like my curves. And my husband even said, which I need to like talk about the reveal, but like he was like, you look like a lingerie model. And I was like, oh my God, I kind of do. Like, it was just like, it was like really sweet. Yeah, but I don't think I'll ever forget that moment of like you playing the slideshow, and like it just makes me choke up.
Yeah, I love that. And that's like what I want all my clients. That's what I want. It makes me emotional because the passion I have for this and the lives I've changed.
Yeah.
I think I added up. I've dealt with over 600 women.
Oh my gosh.
And the stories I'll run into them and they'll tell me things like, you really have no idea how much you changed things for me. And it just blows my mind that I have this gift that
it's a gift.
Can change women, can change the way they see themselves. And I'm just so grateful for that.
Yeah. I mean, and I think I wanted to say this too. And if you go look at Kacee's Instagram, which we'll put everything in the show notes, it's all bodies. That's my, I think that's what I felt really drawn to you, is because when I go on your page and I look, it's like, it's literally all bodies, and every body is beautiful.
Yep.
Every body is powerful.
Oh, yes.
Every body is sexy. Like it's just so, it's so tastefully done.
That's what I try to do.
Well, check. But that's what I want to say. It doesn't matter. I mean, like, I'm 6'1". I'm so long. I've struggled with my body for a very long time, and I've just like gone on this long journey, probably for the last decade, of loving my body and embracing it and learning to love it. And I felt like this was like that, like, celebration of my body, and even like my boobs, like,
yes.
and my boobs look so good.
They do. I've seen them.
They look so good in all the pictures, but I never had that love or joy or appreciation towards my boobs. And so it's just like such a full circle moment. And thank you for giving me that experience.
You're welcome. And one thing I want to add, like with my Instagram, I only share images from clients that give me permission.
Yes.
Your privacy is your privacy. I respect it. So only what you see is what clients have allowed me to share. That's a lot of people's hang up. They're really worried. Do I have to share my pictures? Do I have to share my images? No, you don't. You can keep them private. Lots of clients choose to keep them private. And there's some I really wish wouldn't. Unfortunately, what I've seen, it's usually the curvier women, the plus size women that are more hesitant to share their images, which I understand and I respect that. But I love it when plus size women let me share. Mm-hmm. And when petite women let me share, flat-chested women let me share, because then everybody sees, oh, she looks just like me. She did this and she looks amazing.
Yeah.
That happens all the time.
Yes. I love that. And you do really encapsulate it on your page. And I will second what she says, that you actually fill out a disclaimer, because I filled mine out. And I was like, these are all the ones you can post, and these are all the ones you cannot post. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Because I also, and I've thought about this a lot. I've gone back and forth. I've talked to my husband about it. Like, oh, can I share these? Am I allowed to share these? And I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
I'm allowed to. Like, I am allowed to. And if anyone has a problem with it, that's on them.
Oh, yeah.
It's on them. And I know that people are going to have a problem with it. I know people are going to have a problem with that I just announced that I have my boobs done. Like, people are going to have a problem and an opinion, and I'm just going to let them have that.
Yep.
Because that's not mine. And I think what matters, and if you're listening, what matters is like how you feel about your body.
Exactly.
Because it's your body.
Yep.
And that doesn't mean you have to have plastic surgery. That doesn't mean you have to do a boudoir photo shoot. Although I recommend it.
Me too.
Kacee obviously recommends it. But and that's what this really comes down to for me, is it was like loving my body. It was a celebration of my body that actually turned out to be a really fun Valentine's Day gift for my husband.
Yes.
So I want to tell you this for the listeners too. So Kacee, when she's taking your pictures, she takes a bunch of Polaroid pictures too. She'll like be like oohing and awing, and then she'll go get her Polaroid. She's like, hold it. And she'll go get it and take Polaroid. So when you leave, you're like, you get all your digital images. I guess we didn't say that. Like, so you get all your digital images. She like, you order your photo album. All the things are done in the day.
Yeah.
So when you leave her house, she's already emailed all your digital files, and you have this like cute little, like, looks like a jewelry box.
Yeah.
A jewelry box of Polaroids of you. And so my husband had no idea I did it. This was all like, I just told him I was going down to St. George and like had stuff for work, and it was something for him. I did tell him it was something for him. Seriously, the guy had no idea. So I come home, and you guys, I'm like all done up, like my hair and makeup in a way that I don't normally look. And he's like in the kitchen. I go in the room and I'm putting some stuff away because I'm trying to avoid him as long as possible. And then he comes in and sees me. He's like, whoa. Like, yeah, hi. And our kids, I have my sitter taking the kids out, so they leave, and then I like sit my husband down in the chair. And if you have watched the reel already, you already know his reaction. But I hand him this like jewelry box. And I'm recording him. I sent Kacee the recording. Yes. And the smile on his face, Kacee.
Oh my gosh. It made my day.
It was so sweet. Because he was like shocked.
Yeah. And I told you he would love the last one.
He did.
His reaction of the last one.
Because the last one was like of the sheet. You basically get naked and are under a sheet. And I was like, I don't know how I feel about this, Kacee.
Yes, she was hesitant.
He loved it. Anyways, and he was just so excited. And then after I gave him the box, I was like, oh, and then I sent him a text. I was like, okay, now you can check your phone so you go see all of them. But it was like this really, really special moment. And he was so surprised. He had no idea. And I think I also want to share too, because you know why he was so excited? One of the reasons why he was so excited, it's made me cry too, is and he kept saying to me, he was like, I love that you loved this.
Yes.
Like, I love that this was like so powerful for you, that you enjoyed it. And I was like shaking when I gave him the box. And it wasn't because I was like nervous that he wasn't going to like it. I was like so excited.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, because I was so proud.
Yes.
Ugh.
And he's finally, how do we word this? You're finally seeing yourself how he sees you.
Oh gosh, it's so true.
Yes.
It's so true. Like, he's texted me every day, and then he texts me today. He's like, I downloaded all the images. I'm like, oh, good, me too. Right? We're like, just like looking at all these pictures. But then I also kind of talked to him too, because I was like, you know, I do want to share this. What are your thoughts? And he was like, his face at first was like, what? But then it was funny. I showed him your page, and he was like, oh, I feel like there's lots you could probably share. And it was like he even saw it for what it was too.
Yeah.
Which obviously I think speaks to his security as a man and all of those things. But it was just like one of the coolest experiences for us as a couple. But like, again, it makes me emotional, like just for me.
Yeah.
As like a woman and my body, and like, oh, I just like love
where
her.
you've been, who you are now. Mm-hmm. Like it's so amazing.
Yeah. I'm so curious, like, what have you seen the most? I mean, that's my story, one story. But what's the thing that, like, I mean, there's probably too many to list, but the thing that you've seen the most working with women?
Just that women are so hard on themselves. Women just are so hard on themselves. They just see the negative in themselves. They see their flaws. They focus on those flaws and the things that others don't see. And it has changed me. It has changed how I see myself. I mean, I'm a curvier girl. I'm like mid-size, you know, and it changed how I see myself. I don't look at, oh, my legs, oh, my cellulite. Oh, I don't focus on those things, you know. I see my curves. Mm-hmm. I see the curves, and it's so frustrating to me when I have women come in and they just start talking negative about their body. And I get right after them, zip it. This is not the space for that. And the biggest thing, they'll just like be standing in front of the mirror, just looking at themselves in the mirror like, ugh. Like, you're not going to be standing like that during your session. Stop it. Stop looking at yourself like that. I'm going to pose you. I'm going to do these things. But it's just so frustrating because they just look at their flaws. But then by the end, you know, when they come back, their mind has changed, you know, it's flipped something in them. And they see, oh my gosh, wow. The most common phrase that I would say like 85% of the women, that's not me. Oh, that's not me. Who is she? Who is that? Like, that is you. I didn't do anything. I took your picture. I told you how to pose. But that's you in all your glory and with all your flaws. And lots of women have learned to love their flaws more because of it. They'll see their stretch marks. Like just recently, I had a client for their reveal and she had stretch marks on her stomach. She lost a ton of weight and she saw her stretch marks and she was in love with her stretch marks. She was in love with the progress that she made and she saw it. She didn't see it before. And she had some friends that had come with her and they were just hyping her up during her session. And she loved her stretch marks after that. Mm-hmm. And that's what I love.
Yeah. It's so powerful too. What's coming up for me, there was a moment in the shoot, I'm sure you remember it. I was like against the window. Yes. And I was like looking at, and there was like a long mirror and I looked over and I was like, oh my gosh, like, like I look so good right now. And I remember that like moment. You remember that moment?
Yep.
And we don't do that enough as women. No. We don't look in the mirror and be like, damn girl, no. Like you look fire.
Yep. I know.
And that's, I think, what's so cool about what you do, Kacee, because you, like, again, you're not editing our bodies. You're just like having us like hold them a certain way, yep. But it like encapsulates like this beautiful picture.
Yep. It enhances your curves. It enhances your butt, your boobs, all the things that you want to enhance.
Yeah.
And that's another thing I kind of ask. I send my questionnaire that kind of lets me know what things you want me to focus on, what things you love about your body, what things you don't like about your body that you want to learn to love more, what things you would like me to help conceal, which, I mean, most women, it's always like their midsection if they've had babies. And there's a spot on there too if you're doing it for your partner, your significant other, what things they love about your body. So I really have an idea of what to enhance, what things to help hide a little bit with posing to make you look your best.
Yeah. I loved what you said too when you were sharing a lot about like how it's been healing for you. Like that was going to be one of my questions. And I'm like sitting here thinking like you would have to embody it in order to like cheer someone on.
Oh yeah.
In the way in which you do.
Yeah. Yeah, I can. And there's sometimes, I mean, I don't really struggle with imposter syndrome or anything, but there are times when I look in the mirror, I'm like, first, second day of my period, just bloated as all could be. And I just look in the mirror, I'm like, what the hell? I look disgusting.
Yeah, you know? Because you're human. You're human. Yes, you're human.
Yes. But I just feel like I would be a hypocrite. Mm-hmm. How could I do this and then also hate myself, hate my body? Mm-hmm. And I have, like this past year, I have been working on my body, working out, trying to do better. I've been going to the gym and I post those things on my social media. I posted a before and after from before I first started working out to like, I think it was in September. And to show the progress. And I'm like half naked in that picture, you know, vulnerable. And you can see cellulite, you can see these things, but I don't care. That's on me. It's my body. It's who I am. And I would be the biggest hypocrite if I didn't love those things about me, you know? And it has changed. It's changed me in so many ways. And my husband has seen that too. Because he sees me feeling more empowered in my body, and he sees that. And he loves that. He loves that I'm wearing more fitted clothes, showing off my curves, you know?
Yeah.
It's the confidence that you gain, the empowerment that you gain from it.
Yes. And it's so felt. Like, it's really felt in that moment, in the moment of like the shooting and like doing the shoot with you, because again, it feels authentic. You're not just being like, "Ooh, girl, you look good." Like, do you get what I'm saying? It feels so genuine because it's coming from that deep sense. And I keep drawing all these parallels between being a boudoir photographer and a therapist, which are not the same at all.
But it is.
But like, I have the same sense. Like, I can't ask clients to sit in a chair and do brain spotting or like deep dive into their trauma if I'm not doing it myself.
Yeah.
Like, I do feel like a hypocrite. And I think also, again, that speaks to your work and why I felt so comfortable coming and doing this, why I feel comfortable having this conversation and talking about like some really big things.
Yeah.
Because I think body image is so hard.
It is, especially in Utah.
Yeah, let's speak to that. What do you like, why do you think it's different in Utah?
Well, the LDS culture, the Mormon culture, it's so predominant in Utah, you know. We were taught, I was raised LDS, very, very, I don't want to say my parents were strict. My parents were great. Mom, if you're watching, I love you. You did a great job. You did what you thought you were supposed to do. The modesty. The modesty. We are taught to be so modest. Can't wear bikinis, can't wear tank tops, can't show your body off. And we're just shamed. The LDS church shames you for showing your body. And that's the biggest problem. That's what I've seen the most. Lots of women have come to me who have left the church, and they all say the same thing. They struggle with body image issues because of how they were raised. And you're just shamed for wearing shorts or skirts or tank tops and showing your skin. And, you know, if you go to the temple, you have to wear these garments that cover your body, and they're not cute. They're hideous.
Have you wore garments?
Yeah. Oh yeah. They're so cute.
I never did, but my mom did for a little bit, and I have like obviously know what they look like. And the more I think about them, they're so oppressive.
They are.
They require you to cover. I'm like, God, this conversation is making me so emotional, Kacee. Because I just think about women, and I think about myself, and I never even had to wear garments, but like garments that cover up all those features you enhanced for me.
That's the biggest issue, is the LDS culture and the body shaming. And
I think when you grow up in it, you learn how to shame your body.
Yep.
Like, it almost just becomes this thing that you do that's programmed in you.
Oh yeah.
I was actually having a conversation with a client about this yesterday, and I think it's really poignant to our conversation, because when you leave, right? And then you start dressing yourself, for a lot of people, and you logically know you're allowed to dress yourself. Like, you logically know you don't have to wear the garments anymore. Yeah. However, you get dressed and you look at yourself in the mirror, and you're in your tank top or in your shorts. And I'm going to explain this from like a nervous system lens. Your body like when you see yourself, you activate your nervous system because you've been programmed to not show your body in that way. And that's why it's so distressing. It's distressing because your nervous system's like, we're not supposed to be wearing this. Like it's freaking out, right? When it sees yourself in that lens. And I'm like thinking about how in a lot of ways what you do, Kacee, is you allow, and I don't think a boudoir photo shoot is the end all be all by any means, right, to this journey, but you allow women in a lot of ways to reclaim what has been taken from them in a high control religion culture. But I think also too generalizing to just culturally.
Oh, yeah.
Women are not allowed to show up in this way, not allowed in quotes. And when you shoot them and you like do your whole experience, right? Where then I come and watch my slideshow. It's like you're allowing women to just, it's like reclaiming what they've been stripped of.
Oh, yeah.
What's been used against them, things that have been sexualized. And I think that's probably, and I guess that's my question for you, is that's what's coming up for me. And I imagine people, women, men, are going to talk about how this is just sexualizing women. This is just making women an object. And I'm really curious what your response to that.
Because when I first started doing this, my family was super supportive. My family I have very religious family members. They all saw what I was doing. My husband's family, some of them not so much. Some of them reached out and told me I was doing porn and I should be ashamed of myself. And I should think about my boys. And my response was, I am thinking about my boys. And it's not porn. It is so different from porn.
So different.
This is not porn. No. That's one of the biggest things that people think. And porn is sexualizing, and it's not. And it's showing women's bodies and how beautiful they are. It is not sexualized in any way. And like you said before, mine is more tasteful. There are some boudoir photographers that they specialize in more of the erotica kind of. And awesome. I'm just not that type of person. I love those photographers. They're amazing. Their work is beautiful. I see it as art. I kind of just do more tasteful, showcasing the body, highlighting the body, showing the body for what it is. It's not necessarily sexual in any way. And it's just so frustrating that people can be so, what's the word? Ignorant.
Mm-hmm. And judgmental. And and it's like, I think this is like where like, okay, Ash, you still have some more work here, because I'm like, I know that whatever they say is their own activation, their own insecurities about not being able to hold space for their body in this way. But I think like most women, I'm still on that journey too.
Oh yeah.
And so like knowing that I'm putting myself out there in that way, which feels true and authentic, and like reminding women that they can put they can do this if that's what they want, right? It's still a little bit scary.
Yes.
Knowing people are going to say like those types of things.
You did that? Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because and it's, as you're talking, I loved what you said about it's like showcasing women's bodies.
Yeah.
And women have been told to cover up forever. It's not even, I mean, they're definitely told to cover up in LDS culture, but
it's not even necessarily that.
No, they've just been told to cover up since forever.
Yeah.
Like modern society has told them that. And so in a lot of ways, I just really feel the empowerment piece.
Yeah.
In our conversation today, but in like hearing you talk about it too.
Yes.
And I felt it too, obviously.
Obviously. I hope so. Yeah, and it's not just, the LDS culture. That's just the predominant religion here. That's why we're so conservative. But it's everywhere. It's just in general.
Yeah.
Women are just, on this lower notch, no matter what people will say. Women are. And it's like, no. We can show off our bodies and still be a businesswoman. We can still be an amazing mom. We can still be whatever we want to be and still show off our bodies and be proud of our bodies and what they have done. Men can't have babies. Men can't create life and grow a human. That's the most amazing accomplishment. Show off what you can do, you know?
Yeah. It's so true. And I'm like, I'm sitting here thinking as you're talking about it, because I've been like, well, I'm a therapist. I can't show off my body like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but why? Who decided? Who made these rules?
Yeah.
A bunch of men made the
Yeah,
rules,
yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And I think that's like this really healing part for me too, of if I show my body and that means that someone doesn't want to work with me or they don't like me anymore, that's okay. Then I'm not for them.
Yeah.
And it's kind of making peace with that. Like, this is mine. This is my experience. This gets to be how I show up in the world.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a lot of people that don't agree, but I'm really good at
For
that.
sure.
As you know.
And there are some women who I understand, like, they can't share their images. We talked about this. You know, what certain jobs, and that's fine. I don't think if my mom ever did it, my mom's a mayor, so I don't think she would ever be comfortable sharing her pictures, which is understandable, you know?
Yeah.
I've had so many teachers and come to me and we keep their images private. I get it. Like, there's some things that I get, you know, I get
Yeah.
keeping that, but show your friends, show them. You don't have to post it on social media, but be proud of yourself.
Yeah. It's so interesting. It's like, what's coming up for me? I get it too. Like, I totally get it. And this is where like my feistiness comes from. I'm like, but why?
I know.
But why? You know, like, because we're not allowed to be sexual beings.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to show our bodies. And if you do, and you're in certain jobs and you're going to get in trouble. And I'm just like, oh gosh, that sucks.
Yeah,
you know?
it does.
And I'm not saying I don't, like, I get it. But I always like, I'm like the little devil's advocate over here. And I'm wearing red.
I know. If I could, I would share everyone's.
I know. And I get it. Like, but I love that you respect that.
Yeah.
I think that, again, really speaks to what you do. I wanted to ask, like, kind of out of curiosity, because you are this type of photographer in a very conservative culture. And I know you've talked a little bit about the pushback, but what is like the hardest thing that you've run into? Has there been, or have you felt like, I mean, you clearly have a thriving business.
Yeah. The only pushback was just from like my husband's family. Mm-hmm. Some of them are super supportive. Not his whole, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Some. I haven't had anything negative, really.
And are you getting are you getting women who are members? Like,
Oh yeah.
Who are religious?
Oh, yes,
Conservative come?
Yeah, I've had clients come and they're wearing their garments, take them off, which is cool. I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, I get lots of LDS women, and some of them, and that's another thing. Some of them are very sexual beings, you know? Like,
yes. And it's almost like
I love it.
I guess what's almost coming up for me, it's a way for LDS women to have that.
Yeah. And it's fun. I get to just meet so many different women. Mm-hmm. So many different women. So many amazing women. And I feel like the main age range is like late 20s to like 50s. I get some 60s. This past summer I had a 75-year-old woman.
Awesome.
And it was amazing. I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to be you.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. I want to celebrate my body like that at 75.
It's 75.
Yeah.
But I get lots of older women, and I think it's just because of the style that I shoot. It's just more bright and airy, and there are lots of different styles. There's the dark and moody. But I think the older women like the more light and airy pictures, and I get so many older women, and they're all the same. They all have body image issues too, and they just want to reclaim themselves and get this empowerment, and they've been through so much, and to see them come and do that at their age, it's inspiring.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
I guess what's coming up for me, what would you say to like anyone listening that's curious or interested in doing a boudoir shoot, if I can get my words out, that maybe like they're feeling a little trepidatious or they're feeling a little unsure, a little uncertain? What would you say to them?
Stop it. Stop it. The biggest thing is one day. That's the most common phrase. One day I'll do it. One day I'll do it. When I lose the 20 pounds, when I get my mommy makeover, when I just stop. Just do it now. 'Cause you're going to get older. Time keeps going.
I don't know if it's ever the right time.
It's never going to be.
I'm going to be really transparent. Like it was divinely timed. Like, I don't know if I would have ever bit the bullet and done it.
Yeah. And that's the nice thing is you can do it all year long. You don't have to do it.
You can do it anytime.
Summer or winter tan. Honestly, I don't like doing them in the summer when you're tan and you have tan lines. It's harder to edit.
Yeah, I could see that.
Tan lines suck. And that's why I love that I do it out of a studio. I mean, I have done outdoor sessions, but there is no good time. You're always going to find, you're going to have something come up. You're going to have some excuse. Just do it.
Yeah. And I think what's coming up for me too is like, you'll always be able to nitpick something on your body that's not good enough, or that that is such a hard way to look at your body. And I know I've done it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we've all done it.
Yeah.
But I think too, what you're saying is like, time is precious and we never know what's going to happen.
Yep.
And I am so glad I didn't wait.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so glad I did it.
And you'll want to do another one.
Yes, like, I do.
That's how it goes.
I mean, because I was also even telling that to my husband. I was like, I'm actually excited to do it again because now I feel like I can own it even more. Yeah. And I think that's, this is one other thing that came up for me that I wanted to share on here with listeners. When I was doing the shoot, because I don't really love photo shoots a lot because I'm like, I feel like weird, or I like need to smile or look. But that was like my favorite part, was like, you just got me in the pose. You told me to hold. You cued me when I needed to look at you. But I just was relaxed. Like my face was relaxed the whole time. Like I wasn't smiling or like having to smirk. I mean, I did obviously here and there. Yeah. But that was another part I really loved about it. It was just such a natural thing. So I'm actually like excited
for the next time, because then you're just going to feel even more comfortable.
Yeah, like when you're telling me when you tell me to arch, I'll be like, all right, I got it, girl. Right? Like, because I now get to embody it even more. So I can see how it just becomes this like feminine experience in a lot of ways.
Yeah. And I get so many returning clients, and that's one of the biggest compliments you can receive when they come back. And just to watch these clients come back and to see how much confidence they've grown from it, and to watch them just even feel more comfortable, and they start doing things, they'll feel more comfortable, kind of give me some movement and help out with it, you know? I love it so much. I love it. I seriously love what I do.
I know, you're like glowing over there. I love it. So Kacee and I had talked about you doing a get discount for listeners. Yeah. Do you want to talk about that discount?
Oh yeah. Yeah. First, let's see. You want me to talk about like the process?
I think, talk about your process and like the discount you're going to offer. And I'm just going to say that for listeners to get the discount, they just have to tell you that they listened to this episode.
Yeah. So with the process, I've kind of made it as simple as I can. So if you're wanting to do a boudoir session, clients will inquire on my website, wherever. And like you said, we have a phone consult. I like to have phone consultations with my clients. So when they inquire on my website, they'll get an email that kind of talks about my boudoir sessions, what's all included, kind of touches base on pricing and stuff. But there's a link for you to schedule a phone consult. And on the phone consult is where we make sure that we vibe, essentially. And I go over all my pricing in detail. I go over the sessions. And then if you want to book your session, we kind of talk about dates. Once you book your session, then you get a prep guide that goes over everything you need to do to prepare for your session, whether it be moisturizing. If you want to self-tan, I have amazing girls on there linked. It really helps you prepare. And you'll also receive my lingerie guide and my ghetto guide, I call it. My guide I have a client closet full of lingerie ranging in sizes extra small, clear up to 4XL. And my ghetto guide has pictures of all my outfits, and they're all separated by size. So it really gives these clients a good idea of what I have if they want to wear they want to wear my outfits. And then you get a guide if you want to bring your own outfits, what outfits look best, what don't, because there are outfits that just don't look good. And then you'll get information for hair and makeup. You get hair and makeup. You go to my amazing team of girls, and so you just show up to hair and makeup, and then after you're done with that, you show up to your session. And we have 60 to 90 minute, give or take. And that's the nice thing is there's no set limit. It's just kind of how much we talk, how much we laugh, how complicated outfits are. But I like to keep it between like 60 and 90 minutes. And then after we're done, we break and you go get lunch or go do whatever, go have a nap. I don't know. I don't care. As long as you come back like 2.5 hours and you get to see your images. And that's what we call your reveal appointment, your ordering appointment. And that's where you'll pick out the images, pick out your product, whatever you decide on. And then depending on what you get your pictures that day, which is what you experienced.
Yep.
And
it's an incredible experience. I don't know if I could have done it any other way. Yeah. Obviously it's the only way I've done it, but it was very well done.
Yeah. Kind of streamlined everything.
Yeah.
Make it easy. So for any listeners, I actually just last night created a little website link. So anybody that wants a discount, if you go to www.keekboudoir.com/podcast, you can get the discount. You're going to receive, I have a session fee. You're going to get 50% off the session fee, and then you're going to get a $300 credit towards any collection, or 50% off your digital files. And you'll get Polaroid prints, and you'll get an extra outfit. All the details are on there.
Yeah, thank you. I will be sure to include that in the show notes.
Yeah.
So you obviously had to get to this part of the episode to hear about this incredible discount. Thank you so much for offering that to listeners.
Oh, yeah.
It's incredible of you.
Yeah, anytime.
And if anyone does it, let me know. I would love to hear about it.
Oh, yes.
Oh my gosh, Kacee, this conversation has been so good. I'm kind of like sad it's over.
I know.
I always ask this at like the end of every podcast episode, but is there anything final or any final words you want to leave for listeners that you feel like would be important to end on?
Stop focusing on your flaws and learn to love yourself. Just let go of the flaws and embrace your body for how it is and who you are, and love that. Because once you love that, things will change for you. Once you love yourself, you'll see how much greater life is and happier you are.
So beautiful. Oh, thank you so much, Kacee. And thank you everyone for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. Happy Valentine's Day. Love your body. Love yourself. We'll be back next week. Thank you for being a part of Sunflower Movement today. Just like sunflowers turn toward the light, may you keep leaning into growth, healing, and the spaces where you feel seen. If today's content resonates with you, please share, like, and review. It would mean the world to me.